Let's loop Swindon. Up to now, hearing loops have just been to me a sign on a building. I go into a church and I see there's a hearing loop. I had no idea what they did until I met Dave King, who used to be the editor of Swindon Advertiser, but he now works for an organisation called Hearing Link. And Hearing Link is a UK organised organisation in Eastbourne for people with hearing loss and their families. And I've learnt so much. I've now become an expert about hearing loops, which is quite amazing. And I see you've got a number of them at the back. I was going to ask if this building had hearing loops, but they do, because I saw them at the back, that you've got them on the table. But I wonder how many of you know what a hearing loop is. Do you want to just raise your hands? What's a hearing loop? There's quite a few who don't know what they are, okay? But I didn't know until we were learning quite a lot about it at the meeting we were at last week, in the fact that when you get given a hearing aid, there's a thing inside which can be helps you to actually use these hearing loops. But sometimes they're not turned on even. So you might wear a hearing aid and go into a building where there's a hearing loop and you can't even use it because it's not turned on. Now, we wouldn't have known that because we don't know about these things. Do you know what Awareness Week this is? No, it's not. It's Deaf Awareness Week. 19th to 25th of May is Deaf Awareness Week. So Dave apologises for not coming. It is his project. He is the Hearing Link representative. But what he's been doing over the past few months is going around to places like where Steve works, and Zurich, and Vaz, and the council. And he's been asking them that he would like to make Swindon a champion for hearing loops in public buildings. And so Let's Loop Swindon is our hope that we can actually make Swindon a champion city. It's not a city yet, is it? A town. I live in Swindon, just so you know, but I think it's a city. They won't let us be that, will they? That we will become a champion of hearing loops. What we did learn last week was that in America, the public, people like you, have put so much pressure on public buildings and shops that everywhere has got these loops. So it means that we can make a difference if we actually get together and do that. And that's what this project's about. It's asking us as members of the community to do something about it. So a steering group has been formed, and I'm the chair of that. I don't know how I got to be that, but never mind, I am. And there are members of the steering group here. And now we need your help to find some volunteers. And what do we need the volunteers to do? Well, we need the volunteers about once a month for a morning to actually go out and check these hearing loops. Now, who can tell me some shops in Swindon where there is a hearing loop? Smiths have got one? Okay. Anywhere else, do you think? Nationwide, great.
Portable ones.
Okay. But that's fine. Nationwide can have one as well. But there should be one in every place. Every place the public goes, there ought to be a hearing loop. Some have portable ones. Some have them. We were being told last week, if you're going to make these hearing loops really work, some are right round the building. A room like this will have one right round the building. But in shops, they should be on the counter. And so that when then you use a hearing loop, you can actually hear what's being said to you. And these noises, which I can hear, are all cut out. But actually the shops, when they get them fitted, they're fitted down here. So you can't hear, just like when I moved away from the microphone. So what we need is a group of volunteers. We're looking for about 12 volunteers that will help us go around and check what's out there at the moment. We need them to check the signage. That's an ear with a T on it. We need them to actually find out where the system is and how it works. So if they go into a place, can they ask to actually have the loop turned on? And in doing that, they'll actually check whether staff are aware that how these loops work. Because actually these things are put in place due to the DA. I didn't know what the DA was, but the the law that was brought in. Everyone went out and bought these hearing loops and thought they were compliant. But they're not compliant unless they work, unless they know how they work, and unless they can actually take them and get people to use them properly. So the job of the volunteers will be to actually make Swindon a compliant place for using loops. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to do it through something called the Rotary Community Corps. Rotary, as you know, has been around for a long time and helps groups and communities. And there is a project that's been used in America and Africa called the Rotary Community Corps, which is a volunteer group of people who the Rotary sponsor. And so the Rotary are going to sponsor this group of volunteers. It means, therefore, the volunteers that go out will have insurance and will be compliant with health and safety, etc. And it's under a brand name. But it is a partnership piece of work, as I said, with Zurich and VAS and the coalition, that we're going to do this. And we want your help in helping us to find hearing aid wearers to be our volunteers to go out and do this. We will also take other people, because we think it would be quite nice. I would like to go out with a volunteer so I learn more about how this system works. So we want lots of volunteers, but we particularly want people who actually use hearing aids. And they will be given training on what's required of them each month to do that. And the other thing we need to do is actually make more people aware. Because when you put up your hands, not everyone put up their hands and know what hearing loops are. So it's really important we actually raise people's knowledge about these hearing loops and get people to actually be demanding them. I mean, we were told that Asda have them and many of the supermarkets have them. But I wonder how many of them are used. So we need to actually make people aware that they're there to be used. And I was saying at the meeting, we were talking about it earlier before this meeting started, my father is 86 and he actually refuses to wear a hearing aid. He is deaf because my mother is isolated. One of the things that Dave, I've learned from starting to work on this project is actually deafness actually starts to isolate people. And so my mother, who's 85, is quite isolated from my father because all he keeps saying is "eh." And so again, we have to actually get the message over that actually these things actually are to help us communicate with each other and not become isolated as well.